Hello once again, welcome back, and this is part 2 of competency based questions on chemistry. So we have already done one video on chapter acid, base and salt. Today we will be doing the chapter carbon and its compound. So whatever competency based questions that was released by CBSE, I have put it here. Okay, so let's start with the questions one by one. I hope you have studied the chapters, so it will be easy when you before doing any questions. You should always start off first by reading and then go for revision, so that way you will be able to relate, or you will be able to know how much of it is you are ready. Okay, so first question is, the molecular formula of three carbon compounds are CH2O, C2H4O, C3H6O. ठीक है, so one is CH2O, one is C2H4O, and the third one is C3H6O. Okay, so what you have to do is identify the compound that can exist as two isomers having different functional groups. Okay, so I have already done one video on isomerism. You can go and have a check on that video. Okay, there I have included one question regarding it can be ketone, even isomers are possible for an aldehyde or a ketone, right? So this is another type of question here. So three compounds are given, molecular formula is given, and you have to predict the compounds that can exist as two isomers having different functional group. Okay, so from out of these three, which one will have two isomers of that particular of this formula? Okay, either this or this. Now a key thing for isomers is what you need to, and also write the structure of those two isomers. One key thing about isomers, as I've said in my previous video, that in order to be an isomer, there cannot be less than 3 carbon atoms because of the structural arrangement of atoms. So in order to be isomers, the number of carbon has to be more than 2. Okay, anything less than 3 cannot have isomers, because the carbons cannot arrange themselves with more than with less than 3 carbon atoms. Okay, so from here, if you know that concept, so from these three you can easily identify. So this is having only one carbon, so it cannot be it cannot have isomer. Two carbons are there, so it cannot be an isomer. Remaining is what? The third one, which has 3 isomers. So yes, isomers are possible starting from carbon 3, which the compound having 3 carbon atoms. So this is the only option left out, so this one will be the answer. Okay, now what are the two? So one will be an aldehyde, one will be a ketone. Okay, so you see the answer here. So C3H6O, so that's the correct option. And the two isomers are CH3CO, CH3, that is propanol. Okay, so CH3CO, CH3, and the other one is aldehyde, that is it's propanol, CH3, CH2, CHO. Okay, but when you are writing the structures, please write it in an expanded form, not in a condensed form. Okay, so the examiners, they prefer when you write the expanded form. Okay, so chain structure you draw. So 3 hydrogens here. Okay, so the remaining will be the hydrogens. So that's how you should write the structure. And for propanol, that will be 2, 3. So this is CHO, here 2 hydrogens, and here 3 hydrogens. Okay, that's how you need to draw the 2 isomers of of this compound. Okay, C3H6O. So always remember, whenever you see this type of compound, so one will be a ketone, another will be an aldehyde. Okay, so it can be a carboxylic acid also, depends on how many oxygen are there. So here only one oxygen is there, so it can be either an aldehyde or an alcohol. Okay, it can be an alcohol. So to see the number of hydrogens also, and if one is there, so it will be obviously a ketone. Okay, so if two oxygen are there, then it will be a carboxylic acid or an ester. Okay, so that way you need to remember. So but in your case, like for class 10, they mostly give between like with single oxygen atom, that is aldehyde and ketone. Okay, so moving to the next one. 1 mole of an alkane P. Okay, एक P alkane दिया हुआ है which is P. Okay, which burns in presence of oxygen to yield 6 moles of carbon dioxide and 14 moles of water. Okay, so an alkane, that's the keyword, alkane is there, that is P. It burns with excess of oxygen to give 6 moles of carbon dioxide and 40 moles of water. Okay, now write the chemical formula and chemical name of the compound P. Okay, so what is this P? How will you find out? And will this compound produce a clear or a sooty flame on burning? Justify your answer. Okay, so first let us do the first question. How to find out the chemical formula, that is how to find out what is P. We know that what is the keyword given here, alkane. P is an alkane, right? So alkane, if in order to be an alkane, so what is the formula of alkane? Basic formula of alkane is CnH twice n plus 2, right? So yeah, where n is the number of carbon atoms. अभी यहाँ पे देखो, now this reaction is given, right? How many moles are there? Now for this, you see carbon dioxide. Now how many carbons are there? 6 carbons, right? That means can we write n equal to 6? Okay, so n equal to 6. So if I put 6 here, so C6, right? Now what will be the number of hydrogens? Don't go here. Okay, see here. We know number of carbon is 6. So hydrogen will be how much? 2 into 6 plus 2, that is 12 plus 2, that is 14. Okay, so that's why you can see from here moles. Don't go for here. I will say you go for here. Okay, first find out the carbon. Now then you go for this formula, and for alkene it is given alkane, so for alkane you'll use this formula. If it is alkene, you'll go for CnH twice n. Okay, and if it is alkyne, CnH twice n minus 2. So alkane diya hua hai, so alkane for this you'll use this formula. So C6H14 is the answer. Okay, now what is the name of this compound? 6 carbons, so that is hexane. Alkane is there, so hexane. Okay, name of the compound is hexane. And now hexane is an alkane, so always remember alkanes, that is a saturated compound. Saturated compounds always gives a clear flame. Okay, it doesn't have any residue, so no sooty flame is there. It gives a clear blue flame. Okay, hexane, especially hexane. And unsaturated compounds, if it is an alkene or alkyne, then it would have given a sooty flame. Always remember this. Okay, so here is the answer. So hexane formula is C6H14. It will burn with a clear flame since it is a saturated hydrocarbon. Always remember, saturated hydrocarbon always burns with a clear flame in presence of oxygen, and for unsaturated compounds it is a sooty flame. It does not give a clear flame. I hope I am clear. Let's move to the next one. Bonding of oxygen with carbon and with hydrogen are highly exothermic process. So जब भी carbon and oxygen along with hydrogen bonds form होता है, then it is always a exothermic process. What is exothermic process? Where energy is released. Okay, so that's the hint given here. Compare the amount of energy released on combustion of methane and propane. Both are alkenes. One is methane, one is propane. So what is there? Which compound will yield more energy per mole on combustion? Justify your answer and also write the balanced chemical equation for complete combustion of propane and methane. Okay, so for here what you need to remember, for combustion to take place, so so what will happen whenever combustion is there? So carbon dioxide and water is released, plus it's an exothermic process, so energy is released. Okay, anything that burns with oxygen. So now here what is given? Methane is given, right? And another one is propane. So propane is what? CH3, CH2, CH3. Okay, so this and this, so burns in process, they will give carbon dioxide, water, both will give the same products, but the balance, you have to do the balancing here. Okay, now first question is which one will produce more energy? So as you know, energy is released exothermic process whenever carbon, hydrogen and oxygen they react together. So here you need to remember that जिसका सबसे ज़्यादा कार्बन एटम है that will produce more energy. Okay, that will release more energy. So in this case propane has 3 carbon, methane has 1 carbon. तो किसका ज़्यादा हुआ? Propane का. So propane will yield more energy on combustion. Okay, so it depends on the number of carbon atoms. So remember this. Okay, and then you write the balance equation. Okay, so here is the answer. So as I've already said, now methane, so balance it. So 2O2 you give, so carbon dioxide plus 2H2, and you can also write plus energy. Okay, then for propane, so CH3, you can write either the condensed formula C3H8, or you can also write CH3 CH2 CH3. This is also, you can write, it's better to write this one for you from your part. Okay, so 5 here you will write 5O2, and it will give 3 moles of carbon dioxide and 4 moles of water. Okay, next one, same related to combustion analysis of compound X reveal the ratio of its elements in the molecule to be carbon is to hydrogen is to oxygen as 3:6:2. इसमें बोला है कि एक कंपाउंड है which is X. Okay, now nothing is given, बस बोला है एक कंपाउंड है that is X and which has what are the atoms present है, कार्बन है, हाइड्रोजन है, ऑक्सीजन है, इन द रेशियो ऑफ 3:6:2. ओके, ये वाला दिया हुआ है. द कंपाउंड अंडरगोज एस्टरिफिकेशन टू yield an ester and water. एस्टरिफिकेशन एज आई टोल्ड अर्लियर ऑल्सो, एस्टरिफिकेशन प्रोसेस में क्या होता है, you get ester, right? Water is released, and how to form ester, it has to have a alcohol and an carboxylic acid. Okay, so either so alcohol or carboxylic acid. Now इसमें से, now you know, so you have to identify what is compound X. So it can either be alcohol or it can be a carboxylic acid compound. Okay, so then only it will form a ester and water. So X has to be either this or this. Now how to find out which one will be the case in alcohol? Now how will you find out? Alcohol में क्या होता है, functional group OH, right? And for carboxylic acid COOH, right? Now you see here कार्बन, अभी कितना कार्बन है, 3 कार्बन. ओके, दैट मीन्स 3 कार्बन में से क्या लिखेंगे हम लोग, प्रो. दैट मच वी नो. नाउ आई डोंट नो वेदर इट इज प्रोपानोइक एसिड और इट विल बी प्रोपानॉल. ठीक है, so where will you see, instead of going to hydrogen, if you go for hydrogen you will have little bit of problem, so better go for, you'll get confused, go for oxygen directly. ठीक है, ऑक्सीजन अभी यहाँ पे कितना है, 2. एल्कोहल में कितना ऑक्सीजन है, ओनली 1, राइट? कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड में ऑक्सीजन कितना है, 2. दैट मीन्स विच वन विल आई टेक, एल्कोहल और कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड, कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड. Why? Because it has 2 oxygen atoms. तो यहाँ पे भी दिया हुआ है 2 oxygen atoms. So that means it has to be carboxylic acid. So अभी इसमें for carboxylic acid it is propanoic acid. Okay. So that's the formula of you can say propionic acid, or it's the same name. It is also called as propanoic acid. So the formula is CH3. You write like this. Okay. CH3. CH2COOH. Okay, this is propanoic acid. Since they have asked for chemical formula, so you'll write the condensed formula. No need to go for the structure, the expanded form. You can write the expanded form, but they have asked only the formula, so you can go for this. You can write like this, or you can write C2H5COOH. Both are correct. Okay. And this is the balance equation. So you have to write, so anything that combustion is given, that means it will so carboxylic acid, then you write the oxygen, you'll get, so what is happening when combustion occurs, so you'll get carbon dioxide plus water plus energy. Okay, that's a basic equation. So anything for combustion, that means oxygen is added, and the byproducts are always carbon dioxide, water and energy. So this is an organic compound, so you'll always get this one. Okay, and energy is released, so then you go for balancing. So you'll get 2C2H5COOH plus 7O2. Okay, so here 2, here 7, here 6 molecules and 6 molecules of water. So that is about combustion and how to identify the compound when there is when the ratios are given. From there you find out whether it is oxygen, how many are there, that way you can find it out. Okay. Okay, last one. Study the compounds displayed below. Now you see the compounds here. This is first, take out the compounds. Okay, this is alkene, double bond is there. This is alkane, single bond, 2 carbons are there. Here also 2 carbons, so OH is there. That means it is an alcohol group, right? Now here this is single carbon, so so this is alkene. Here you see COOH is there, that is carboxylic acid is there, and again this is here one carbon is there. Here how many are there? 3 carbons and alkene is there. Okay. Now what is the question here? Identify all the compounds that are the first members of their respective homologous series. Homologous series, I hope you remember. So if it is an alkane family, so the members are one: methane, ethane, right? Methane, ethane, yes or no? Propane. So what is the homologous series? It has to belong to the same family, and the carbon group will differ by what is the, can you tell me the difference? So here how many? 4 are there here. So 6 minus 4, 2. So CH2 differs by CH2 group. Okay, so that's how you, so we'll know whether they are in homologous series or not. So it not only alkene, it can be an alkene, it can be a carboxylic group family, it can be an alcohol family, it can be an ether, it can be an ester, it can be your aldehyde group. Okay, but it has to have belong the homologous series. 2 conditions are: one, it has to differ by CH2 group, and the members has to be belong, or it has to be from the same family. If it is alkene, it has to belong in the same alkane family. It is alkene, then same alkene family. Or if it is alcohol, it has to be alcohol family. Okay, so not if one is alkene, one is alkene, it cannot be homologous. Okay, so you read the homologous topic. Now which of the now identify the compound that are first member. Now they are asking for the compounds of homologous series which are the first member, that means first member of each family. ठीक है, पहला member हर एक series का पहला member का they are asking. Now first वाला यहाँ पे क्या है? A, it's alkene. How many are there? 2 है. alkene और कहाँ कहाँ पे है? यहाँ पे एक है और यहाँ पे है. Both are alkene. Okay, now first member, is it this the first member? Yes. Why? Because alkene family में starting member is always with 2 carbons. एक कार्बन से alkene नहीं बनता है, so it cannot be more less than 2. Okay, so this is so this cannot be. Why? Because there are 3 carbons, so it cannot be the first member. अगर पूछा था which of them belongs to the same homologous series, then these 2 belong to the same homologous series. But what is the difference here? यहाँ पे पूछा है they only the first member they want. Okay, so that is why A will be 1. Let's see, B, 2 carbons. These are single bonds, so alkane. So alkane first member is only 1 carbon. So see here. So this is another one. It belongs to the alkane family out of these 2. Next, carboxylic acid. So 1 carbon is there. So yes, this is correct. Formic acid, right? This is methanoic acid. Then here alcohol family, OH group. But here you see 2 carbons, so it cannot be. And here this one also cannot be. This 3 cannot. So only answer is A, D, D and E. Okay. Now which of the above compounds are likely to undergo non-catalytic hydrogenation reaction? Without catalyst, which hydrogenation reaction occurs only by the members of alkenes. So इसमें alkene, where are the alkenes here? A and F, right? So here it will be A and F. And the last one, which of 2 compounds will combine to form an ester? Yep, I have already said in order to form an ester you need an alcohol and a carboxylic acid. So matlab here is the carboxylic acid and here is the alcohol. So E, C and E, right? So here it will be A, D, E. Okay, let's see if it's correct. Okay, so I hope now I'm clear. And you have to write the reaction also for how to form an ester. So you just write down what is given here. Formic acid is there, okay, and your ethanoic acid is there, so you just combine it. So CH3 CH2O COH. Okay, so this is your ester part, okay, plus H2O. So that COOH. Okay, one second. Okay, so it will be CH3, okay, CH2, then so this part is over, then your oxygen is remaining, so O, okay, sorry, O, and here this one C, O, H. Okay, so and plus water is released. That's the ester. So ester will have C, this part is a ester. Okay, COO is ester. Okay, so that's how ester is formed. I hope I am clear. Okay, so this is the end of carbon and its compound competency based questions. Whatever was released by CBSE, I have mentioned it here. Next we'll be going for the first chapter, chemical reactions and equations, and also metals and non-metals. So those two videos I'll be sharing it soon. So keep practicing, keep learning, enjoy learning. Okay.